We ready, Vinny?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here for this meeting of the Board of the Town of Carmel. Before we get started, as always, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, so would everybody please rise. And we have an Eagle Scout candidate with us tonight, Joseph. And would you please lead us in the pledge? Whenever you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And would everybody please remain standing and keep the members of our armed forces in their thoughts and prayers while they're fighting for our freedoms, both domestically and overseas, and that they all, we pray that they all arrive back home to their families safe. Okay, thank you all. Okay, once again, welcome everyone for being here tonight for this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, and for those at home that are watching, thank you for tuning in tonight. Tonight's Town Board meeting is a work session. At 6 p.m. this evening, the Town Board met in executive session, Councilman Borelli to discuss the user fee schedule, and Mike Simone, Highway Superintendent, to discuss the personnel for budget fiscal year 2022. For the record, all Town Board members are present with the exception of Councilman Lombardi, who is out of town on vacation this evening. With us tonight, we have Greg Falchetti, all the way down to my left, Carmel Town Council. And we have Mary Ann Maxwell, our Town Comptroller, with us, and Jim Gilchrist, Director of Parks and Recreation. They have two items on the agenda this evening. Rich Franzetti couldn't be with us this evening, and he's got two items that myself and the Town Council, Greg Falchetti, will be handling for Rich. So at this time, we're going to discuss the review of the Town Board minutes of September 16th, 2021. Is there any Town Board members that have any comments on the Town Board minutes?
No.
Okay, there being none. First item, consider request to declare old equipment obsolete and authorize disposal of same. I'll handle this one. There are 5 vehicles that we're going to be taking out of service, and the board is going to be authorizing disposal of those vehicles. And just so the public is aware, these vehicles are going to be sold on an auction site, so we're going to try to get some money back from these cars. Even though they're no longer useful to us as in our town fleet, they are vehicles that I believe we'll be able to get some money for on the auction market. So the 5 vehicles that we have are 3 used police vehicles. They're 2013 Chevy Caprices that are no longer in service. There's 1 Chevy Tahoe, a 2000 Chevy Tahoe, and a 2008 Ford Expedition. All these vehicles, they have issues, mechanical issues, body issues, things like that. They would no longer pass inspection because of the rust on them. But these vehicles are purchased by folks that use them for parts and things like that. So they're all going to be listed, and they'll probably be on the auction site within the next 2 or 3 days, and the auction will go off 2 weeks from then. So I'll let you know how we did with them. But there's, unless you want me to go through the vehicle identification numbers, guys, I will. If not, if you want to waive the reading of the VIN numbers?
Yes.
You don't
Yes.
need them, right?
No.
Okay. All right, so we'll keep you posted on how we did on these cars, but the board does have to authorize them to be disposed of and as obsolete vehicles. Okay, so next item, Mary Ann Maxwell, Town Comptroller. This is to consider request to authorize budget revisions number 2021/04, July to September of 2021. Mary Ann?
Good evening. I'll start with the general fund. Number 1 is to provide for a payout of accrued vacation time in the Justice Court for $1,269. Number 2 is to provide for certiorari legal services of $12,500. Number 3 is to provide for a retiree payout in the Central Services Department, which is our accounting department, for $62,069. And number 4 is to provide for a police vehicle repair, and number 5 is to provide for recreation repair. Both number 4 and 5 come from insurance claim money. The first 3 are coming from fund balances that we have set aside money for those claims, for those expenses. Number 6, we're transferring for miscellaneous expenses within the general fund. Number 7, transferring for miscellaneous expenses in the police department. And number 8, we're transferring for recreation, expenses in the recreation department. All of these expenses are within the various departments. In the highway fund, we're transferring for general repair labor overtime of $1,000. Also transferring for health insurance just between two different departments within the highway fund, weeds and brush and general repair. On page 2, I'll get into the park districts. In the Lake Cassie Park District, we're providing for a pump repair from an insurance claim of $201. Also in Lake Cassie, Lake Mayapack, and Lake Secor Park Districts, we're transferring within those districts for various contractual and emergency repairs. And I'm not going to go through all of the water and sewer districts. There's about three pages of them. I will touch on some of them. Most of them are just transfers from within the districts, but I will touch on some that involve either insurance claim or taking money from the fund balance. So in Water District number 4, on the bottom of page 2, you'll see we had an insurance claim and we received $4,949 to cover the cost of equipment and emergency repairs. Water District number 6, also we received $8,233 in insurance money to cover the cost of equipment and emergency repairs. Water District number 7, we're providing for miscellaneous expenses within that fund. We're actually taking $10,000 from that district's fund balance to cover the cost of various expenses in that district. Water District number 9, there was also an insurance claim of $16,359 for equipment and emergency repairs. On page 4, Water District number 14, also an an insurance claim to cover costs of equipment and emergency repairs. Sewer District number 2, also an insurance recovery claim for contractual repairs. Also in Sewer District number 2, we are projecting to take $300,000 from the fund balance. This is an item that is on the agenda tonight, and I think Supervisor Schmidt is going to cover this, or Greg. This is 3 pieces of equipment that the operators of Sewer District 2 said that they do need. There is a substantial fund balance in Sewer District number 2 of $900,000, so taking $300,000 from that is not going to hurt the district, and we are budgeting next year to for equipment needs for for 2022. But this is apparently 3 pieces of equipment that they do need. So we do have money in the fund balance to cover the equipment. Okay?
Got it, thank you.
I'll go on to page 5. In Sewer District number 8, we also received insurance claim money to cover contractual repairs. Number 42 on page 5, within the debt funds, we're providing for additional band payments within the debt funds in the general funds, the highway fund, and Sewer District number 1. In the airport park, we are providing for capital improvements from the Parkland Trust Fund. So the rec committee has suggested we take $35,000 from the Parkland Trust Fund and move it into the airport project to cover costs within that district. So I did speak to Greg earlier today. We're going to need a separate resolution taking that money from the Parkland Trust into the airport.
Marion, do you know what the balance is in the Parkland Trust Fund account?
I think it's $1,040,000.
Okay.
I can double check on that, but it's over $1 million.
Over $1 million?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's before the 35? Okay.
So if we take $35,000, $1,005,000, but I can double check on that.
Okay, so
Okay.
it's
And that was for the septic system.
Yes, oh yeah, the $35,000 was to cover the.
Because that price came in significantly higher than we budgeted for.
okay.
Yeah, so I think.
So there's a pretty healthy amount of money in the Parkland Trust Fund account. And that's all, Greg, that all can be, that's money that's.
That can be encumbered for that
Encumbered?
purpose, absolutely. And I'll add the resolution
Okay.
to what I had already given the board.
Okay.
Mary and
All
I
right.
spoke about it.
Thanks, Marion. Thank you.
And that is it. If anyone else has any other questions, I didn't cover all of them, but most of them are just transfers within the district. I just covered the ones that,
Bob, you have any questions?
No,
Marion?
no questions.
Susie, any further?
Interfund
Can you start over again?
trust. Park capital fund,
Yeah, tough day.
agency trust,
Tough day.
I was just
increasing.
One question,
Mike, you have any
okay.
questions for Marion?
one
Susie?
question. As far as the money that we received for the COVID relief funds, when are we going to start to use those funds?
Well,
Maybe we could
originally,
use it
we
towards
had
some of these.
to
There's a deadline.
prepare a report by October 31st, but that has been extended to April 30th of next year.
Okay,
So, I did meet with the board, and, we discussed some ideas, but we have some time to figure out, but I think we do need to kind of
To start working on it.
start working on that,
Yeah. After-
absolutely.
Yeah,
After the
this
budget, I mean, that's
Okay.
something that's definitely,
There's some.
I don't want to wait till April 1st, put it that way,
Yeah.
I mean, but I
We
think,
have, we have some thoughts.
yes.
I know I have
yes.
some thoughts. I think.
Yes,
So do
you-
I.
Right.
You can
And
use it
Mike-
for the, water and sewer projects. We did discuss some other,
Okay.
some other options as well. There's park districts that could use some of the funding, water districts, sewer districts, and then some townwide
All right.
projects
Okay.
as well.
Yeah, I think we should.
Good on that,
We
sooner
should
than
start
later.
discussing that, and we need to bring in Mike, too. Mike
Yes.
Kazari
Yes.
needs to be part of those discussions as well.
Yep.
Mike?
Of course,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay. I'll call you.
So,
All right.
okay.
All right. All right, Marion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so 3 and 4, Rich Franzetti, as I said, he can't be with us tonight, so I'm gonna take care of 3 and 4 for Rich. So this is a memo that Rich Franzetti prepared regarding emergency repairs and services. This memorandum is being presented to the town board to advise the board of emergency invoices that were submitted for payment, authorization to proceed in excess of $10,000 for services rendered. The following provides a brief summary of the work that was performed. Carmel Water District 2, Seminary Hill valve replacement. On October 31st, 2021, Infomark, the operators of Carmel Water 2, notified the engineering department that emergency 10-inch valve replacement was performed at 47 Seminary Hill Road. Attached is an invoice in the amount of $11,723 for Cook Excavating to make the repair. Carmel Water District 2, Kings Grant valve replacement. On September 14th, 2021, Infomark, the operators of Carmel Water 2, notified the engineering department that an emergency valve replacement was performed at Kings Grant. Attached is an invoice in the amount of $11,071.08 for Cook Excavating to make the repair. Carmel Water District 2, Willow Road valve replacement. On August 11, 2021, Infomark, the operators of Carmel Water 2, notified the engineering department that an emergency 8-inch valve replacement was performed at Willow Road. Attached is an invoice in the amount of $12,803.48 for Cook Excavating to make the repair. Carmel Water District Number 9, pump replacement. On July 25th, 2021, B&J, the operators of Carmel Water District 9, notified the engineering department that the pump failed due to a lightning storm. This pump cable and related parts were replaced and set new on 8/26/21. Attached is an invoice in the amount of $16,358.70 for B&J to make the repair. Please note that this invoice has been submitted to insurance for reimbursement. We request that this memorandum be put on the agenda as a matter of record. So this is a standard procedure that's followed when there's emergency repairs that are performed within the town over $10,000. The board has to authorize that, and that's what the engineer has requested, that the board approve these emergency repairs that I just enumerated for the board. So any questions or comments on this agenda item? And as I stated, the lightning strike in Carmel Water District Number 9, that a claim was submitted for that, and I anticipate that the insurance company is going to pay on that claim. They're going to pay for the lightning strike. They have in the past, so I have no reason to believe that they won't in this particular case. So that one will probably be covered by insurance.
It was a lot in, just in parts and labor, not the labor, but the equipment that had failed, they had to replace.
Yeah,
Pump, the motor.
yeah, and there's an 8-inch
And the
valve
cable.
that you saw that went,
about
and the
12.
10-inch valve. So these are fairly significant water main breaks when the valve's involved in it as well. So, Mike, do you have anything? Bob, any further?
That's it.
Susie?
No.
Okay. All right, so next number 4, Rich Franzetti, consider request to award bids for Carmel Sewer District Number 2, wastewater treatment plant improvements. This is for contract C-275. Bids were received and opened by the town clerk for the reference project on September 9th, 2021 at 11 a.m. Bid specifications were provided to 10 potential bidders. Notification of bids was posted on the Town of Carmel's website as well as on BidNet Direct/Empire State Purchasing Group website. A copy of the bid opening results is attached, indicating 3 bids were received. The scope of the work involves the supply and installation of the dual drive clarifier, grit cyclone and shaftless screw grit classifier for the washing, conveyance, and dewatering of wastewater separated grit from mechanical grit chamber, and a double helix dual auger system, which nobody probably understands what I'm reading, but I'm just reading it off the engineer wrote, at Carmel Sewer District Number 2. Based upon our research, we have determined that the bar screen dual auger system and the grit classifier cannot be installed by 2 separate contractors, as there will likely be interferences between the contractors, which would likely result in work change orders. Such interferences could result in operational and potential bypass issues, which could result in compliance issues at the plant. As such, these elements should be awarded to a single contractor. TAM Enterprises was the low bidder for the dual drive clarifier drive at $98,000. TAM has performed miscellaneous work for the town of Carmel, including sewer jetting in 2015. Based on this department's experience with TAM, we have determined that the company is qualified to perform the work outlined in the bid specifications. We therefore recommend that the clarifier drive component be awarded to TAMS for $98,000. Whitcon Incorporated was the low bidder for the shaftless screw grit classifier at $180,000 and was the second lowest bidder for the bar screen dual auger system at $160,000. As discussed above, these 2 elements should be awarded together. In combining the projects, the total price for Whitcon is $340,000. The total price for TAMS is $370,000. Thus, Whitcon is $30,000 less than TAMS. We interviewed references provided by Whitcom, and we are satisfied that Whitcom Incorporated is qualified for the project. We therefore recommend that the shaftless screw grit classifier and the bar screen dual auger system be awarded to Whitcom for the total amount of $340,000. Per the attached, there are insufficient funds in the operating budget for this expense in its totality. However, the clarifier was included in our 2021 budget, and the funds are still available for that. Funding for the purchase and install of the grit classifier and bar screen auger projects, $340,000, will need to be taken from the unreserved fund balance, per the discussion that I had with Mary Ann Maxwell regarding the remaining funds that are needed. I respectfully request that this matter be placed on the next available work session for discussion. So again, this is Engineer Rich Franzetti's memo that I read off to you, and it's very technical in nature. And again, I'm sure you didn't understand a lot of the technical elements of this request, but this work is necessary in Carmel Sewer District Number 2. As you know, the wastewater treatment plant processes over 1 million gallons of wastewater per day, and these elements are needed in order for that process to continue. So this work has to get done. Any questions on this? Mike? Bob, any questions? I know it was extremely technical, and Rich isn't here, but if you have any questions during the week, give him a call.
One question I do have is, can we somehow star this money that we're using on the sewer district to see if possibly we can get reimbursed from that funds that we were talking about earlier from the COVID relief?
Repairs, Greg? Or
is that a possibility?
Something that would be...
Infrastructure is part of it. There's kind of a four-part question you have to go through in terms of analysis as to whether the funds are appropriate. It's appropriate utilization of the ARPA funds, but infrastructure is part of it. So it's something that the board can visit, and you may be able to reimburse that fund from ARPA once you make a determination as to what projects are, and you go through the process to understand that the government never pre-approves anything with respect to the funds. You're going to use it and designate it, and if there's an objection, you'll find out later.
Right.
And the worst case scenario is you'd have to reimburse the funds from your own. But
Okay.
Right, so,
Fairly strong likelihood, as well as some of the capital stuff from that district that's being done, as opposed to this, which is really an O and M.
Right.
that's a good question, Bob. So we can authorize the repairs, and then we can then
And
follow through.
resubmit.
Follow up and resubmit for that.
Decide to use it for that
Yeah,
purpose.
There'll be
Perfect.
enough projects in water too that
I'm sure there will
We
be.
can use up all-
that they're going
a
to
lot
be
of the money.
qualify,
Yeah.
you know.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg, for the
Uses are almost
clarification.
identical.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay. All right. So number 5, Jim Gilchrist, Director of Recreation and Parks. Consider request to approve Eagle Scout project. This is a message board at Sycamore Park for Eagle Scout candidate Yosef Bachelata. Am I close? Huh? Backletter. Yosef Backletter. This is for Boy Scout Troop Number 1, Mahopac.
You can hand a copy to everybody. This project was reviewed last Thursday evening at the Recreation Committee meeting, and it was approved by all the committee members. This would be a great improvement to the Sycamore Beach, where we could have an announcement board as people are entering the front of the beach. It would be a spot for, right now, we're putting a lot of announcements up on the fence.
Thanks, Joseph.
We're hanging them on the fence, where we can actually put it behind a plexiglass sliding plexiglass door, and we would lock it on there and pin it up on a bulletin board. We have one of those down by the Buddy Decker sign, and it works out great as you enter into the park. So the announcements boards now are, we have them throughout the park, and people are actually utilizing them. They're looking at them. We put a lot of announcements up for different special events that are going on, for the summer camp, and a lot of different protocols that people have to follow. So down at the beach, it would be something we could definitely utilize during the summer. And having the bench below it is a nice touch, where kids are waiting for their parents to pick them up after swimming lessons or waiting to go into the beach. It would be a nice spot for people to, before they get into the aquatic area to wait for somebody.
So that's where Joseph, that's where you want to put it, down by the beach area? Like in between the playgrounds and the beach? Like
It's between, the double gate to go into the beach,
Yep.
the main double gate, and then the single man gate on the
Yes.
right.
Yep.
It's in that, there's a fence area right between there, in the grass area,
Oh,
where the
good.
old sign used to be.
Yes.
It would go right in that area there.
Perfect.
So why don't you talk about your project?
Yeah.
So, if the fundraising goes well for the message board, we plan to put a duck weather vane on top. I think it would be a nice.
That's not on the picture, right?
Yeah, it's if the fundraising goes well.
Oh, okay.
It's just gonna be like a nice little addition on top.
Oh, that'll be cute.
We think it would be a nice little touch, since there is a fish one on top of the playground. So we think a duck one would be cool on top of the message board. The roof is going to be made out of cedar shingles, and the bench is also going to be made out of cedar boards. The display case, Dave Faro decided to donate it to us, so we will have to resize the message board to fit the dimensions of the display case.
Do you have to stain or like polyurethane cedar or no?
We do not plan to.
I don't, all right, yeah, I don't know which kind of wood you need to or not.
Sometimes you can put an oil on it, but I would.
Yeah.
Just leave it.
Cedar will last a long time.
Yep.
Good product to use. Doesn't it?
Cedar smells good. Yeah. This looks really awesome. And are these the colors, is this color scheme that you're gonna go with as well?
No, it's
Yeah,
just
cedar, which
the different parts to highlight the different
Oh,
parts we're going to
okay.
use.
Okay.
Since the footing is going to go 3 feet into the ground, the water table will be 2.5 feet deep. So we will likely use a plastic pipe to put in the footing to make sure that it does not get wet.
Okay.
Okay. No, it looks very nice. I like the design of it. Good project. Thank you. Appreciate it. When are you starting your fundraising?
Basically, as soon as it gets approved.
Okay. All right. Do you know what you're going to be doing for fundraising?
Yes, we plan to start a GoFundMe page,
Okay,
so.
okay. Okay. So you're going to raise the funds just through the GoFundMe page?
Yep. If it's not going too well, we can also start a kind of little bake sale.
Okay.
Since my family makes a lot of bakery products.
Very nice.
Okay. All
What
right,
made
great.
you think of doing this project?
When I was younger, around the kindergarten age, my mom would take me there a lot, and I have fond memories of being there. So I noticed that the old message board that was by the beach was gone. So I'm like, what happened? So then, later, when I was doing my Eagle Scout project, I asked if they had what their available Eagle Scout projects are. And I saw that there was a message board for Sycamore Park, and I decided to take that one, since I thought it would be a nice idea to give back to the community after they had hosted so many fun events at Sycamore Park.
Great idea, great idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really is. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. The Recreation Committee, you presented it to them as well, I think you said?
Yep.
And they're good with it? Okay, we are too. So get started. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yes, thank
Yeah,
you.
when do you intend on starting this project? Right away?
We plan to start it, yeah, basically.
Okay. And finish it?
He's got to go through the approvals. He has to get approvals here first and then go back to his true
Okay.
final approvals. Right, you got to go back.
Yep.
First Monday of the month?
So hopefully the first Monday
So-
in November, because we should have it.
We'll have it
by
next
then.
week, yeah. So we'll
Yeah.
have a resolution for next Wednesday, the 20th. And then right after that, you can go ahead back to and meet with the council.
Great, thank you.
I see here also you have 42 merit badges, so you should be in a good place to get this going and get it finished.
Except for the,
Congratulations on that. It's a big achievement.
Around 44.
44, yeah,
Wow, very nice.
that's a lot. Busy person.
And there's a lot of work to get each one of those merit badges.
I couldn't have done it without my parents. They were the ones pushing me to do
That's so
yeah.
sweet.
It's true.
Aw,
Very good.
what a nice kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Great job,
Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, next on the agenda is Jimmy Gilchrist also. This is to consider request to authorize entering into agreement with the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department for the use of their facility for the senior drop-in get-together program. Jim?
Sure. So we had a 6-month rollover contract with the Mahopac Fire Department that started back in 2008. And it was a continuous contract. It was $175 a meeting, and there was no end date. So the fire department requested that we look into revisiting the contract during the summer. They had some concerns with COVID. Obviously, we stopped meeting last year with indoor meetings. We didn't have any indoor meetings. We met up at Camarda Park. So we were planning on meeting and starting up again this year. They had some concern. They went back to their legal counsel. So they added, if you go through the contract, you see they added a couple items in there with cleaning, with different protocols on cleaning. They adjusted their fee schedule. So they raised it
Yes,
from.
that they raised it.
Yeah, so from 2008, we were paying $175 up to right now, and then they raised it to $200 a meeting. So they raised it, $25. And
What
then
was their reasoning for that, Jimmy?
the reason for the fee is, during the meetings, we have up to about 200 people that we meet in there. We use, obviously, they're using the bathroom facilities, the heat, cleaning supplies. We have a store, we have a closet that we use for all of our storage. We store all our supplies there. We use all the tables and chairs. So just a general wear and tear on the floors. I'm assuming they probably have to get them waxed, you know,
Okay.
throughout the year. They used to have people there manning the building at different points for us to help us get in and out of the building if we needed any assistance in there. It is the seniors' home. The fire department has been very
Yeah.
accommodating to us over the years. Anytime we've needed any assistance at all, they've really helped out with us. So I have no complaints on that end. So I think it's a fair contract, and not asking for anything out of the ordinary. So, you know, this takes us 5 years going forward. So my suggestion would be to go with the contract.
Okay. All right, and the seniors do enjoy that
Yeah,
facility?
we're right, currently, right now, I had to get them back in. It was getting a little bit too chilly up at Camarda Park, and the weather was getting iffy with
Yeah.
rain. So we've met twice so far up at the golf course, over at Putnam Golf Course, and we're going to be meeting there we have 2 more meetings there. So, but it is difficult with the parking, where they have to walk up to the facility. So the golf course lets us use a couple of golf carts to shuttle people up and down the hill. Where at the fire department, it's all level. They can walk around to the rear of the fire department. We have the elevator to get people upstairs. So it is a lot easier for the seniors to get in and out of the building. It's a lot more convenient.
Jim, I would have preferred that they left it at 175, obviously, but it was, how long was it, 175 for, how many years?
From 2008,
2008?
Yes.
175
Yes.
per meeting?
yes. Yep.
Okay. Well,
Did-
so they raised it $25 for the first year. January 2022 to December 2022 was 200, but they increased it $5 a year for every
After that,
subsequent
yeah.
year after that.
Did you ask them if they would keep it, the 200, for the all 4 years?
No, I did not ask that, no.
Yeah, just ask them, just tell them it's the same taxpayers, you know, if they can work with us. It
It's
can't
our
hurt,
seniors.
it's the seniors,
seniors.
you know, it's coming out of their budget.
Yep.
You know, just ask them, I mean, it's not a ton of money, but it's $5 extra a month, and then $10 extra a month, and then $15 extra a month. You know, that
On
could,
this contract, you guys do everything anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You do everything.
So just ask them if they,
You clean it,
if they.
You set up, you break it down.
Yeah, the reason for their fee, like I said, is I'm assuming that they're waxing the floor and different things that after, you know, the wear and tear on the facility.
Yeah, I know, but most of a lot
But
of the
I will.
contracts
I'll-
we have, like, that are, there's not an increase. You know, just ask them.
Yep, I
If
will.
you don't mind.
I'll ask them.
All right, if they would be so kind.
You got it.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, 7, Mike Carnazza, Building and Codes Enforcer, consider request to attend annual training for himself and Fire Inspector Joe Wilichowski. This is a virtual training, October 18th to the 20th, 2021. It's for $300. There's a memo here. Please be advised that Joe Wilichowski and I would like to take a 24 hours of required training from October 18th to the 20th, 21. The total cost is $150 each. Invoices are attached. This is annual training that's required for Mike and Joe to maintain their certifications. So they have to take this. So, and the cost for this is actually in the building department's budget. Any questions? Mike, Bob, Susie on this one? This is training, so they have to take it. It's required. Okay, next, number 8, Glenn Drosy, Town Assessor, consider request to authorize reimburse for annual training. The 2021 Annual Assessor Fall Conference this year is in Niagara Falls. I will not be attending in person, but will attend classes virtually on 10/4, 10/5, and 10/6. So as you hear, he's already taken this training. The virtual live classes require that I have an active microphone and camera while taking the class, so I prefer to take them here in the building due to staff interruptions, not take them here in the building due to staff interruptions and phones ringing. Would it be okay if I take the classes at home? So he took these classes at home, but there's a $200 fee, admission, registration fee that's associated with this that has to be paid. So we just need board approval for this to be paid, since he took the classes already.
Okay.
In the future, he's going to request permission
Ahead of time.
ahead of time. Yeah, he wasn't aware that for 200, it's in his budget, but he wasn't aware that he had to submit the request ahead of time. In the future, he will.
Go with that.
Okay?
Yep.
Susie, good? Okay, so that completes the town board work session for this evening. At this time, I'm going to open up the floor to any members of the public that are here that would like to comment on any of the agenda items that we covered this evening. If there are, come on up at this time. Yes, come on up. No, not that training. He does have to do training, but not this training. Hello.
First of all, I talk briefly about budgets, and you don't need to get any here, it's really more about
Oh, hold on one second.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's not. All right, thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
start over again?
Sure. April Daly from HOPAC, and I wanted to just touch base with regards to the budget adjustments. Excuse me, we don't need Mary Ann here. It's not a deep dive on numbers. It's really more about managing it. So I've observed, and certainly you guys know this very well, there's constantly a lot of adjustments, and it makes sense. You enter the year, with essentially a fixed pot of money, or at least predicted on tax revenue and things like that. Things happen, so you need to move money around. So has there been any, so first question is actually, when I see budget adjustments that come from reserve funds, okay, that's fine, but what about budget adjustments that take from equipment allocation, things like that? So essentially, I think that means it's a deprioritization of what was planned to do that year. So I wonder if you could just touch base or briefly describe how you handle the impact of that and how you even pick these things that get deprioritized.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So when we set the budget at the beginning of the year, there are certain lines in the budget that are funded, and there's anticipated costs that are associated within those lines. We try to do our best at determining, what the cost will be during the course of the year. Obviously, when you see a lot of these budget requests for transfers and moving money around, it's to replenish those lines that may have been shorted. We didn't, fund the lines enough during, that budget time. Mm-hmm. They're usually unanticipated costs that are associated with that, so there's really no way to, we come up with a number based on historic information and data, like what we used the previous year, but with the infrastructure, it's hard to determine that. As you heard tonight, there were a lot of repairs that were made, and yes. we were short in those particular lines.
Unanticipated.
They're unanticipated,
Well,
so.
Yeah, I think that's a good example. So, and I think you alluded to it as well, which is, and I don't know how formal it is, but for example, is there any sort of compilation of metrics in terms of budget adjustments? Which departments, have the most budget adjustments over a period of time and things like that? Or which, particularly in infrastructure, which facilities or specific budget areas have emergencies or continuously have emergencies? So you're absolutely right. There's contingencies that happen that, aren't planned for, things happen. Mm-hmm. But maybe some of it is also warrants a change in practice, operational practice. It really depends on what the root cause of it is. And so that's what I was wondering if you sort of looked at that at all. And
we would constantly look at it.
We have an asset management that they started, and that is to determine pretty much, I think what you're saying, all of these, especially in the sewer and water districts, all of these huge machinery parts, okay, when was it either broken, or when did we put it in? What is the lifespan? So if we put something in today and it only has a 5-year lifespan, we know we have to save each year for those 5 years, because 5 years from now, we're going to have to do it. We didn't have that prior. We got a grant for that a few years ago, I believe. Yeah. So that's still in the making of it, but that is planning for the future and seeing, nobody can, if lightning strikes, nobody knows that. But we can plan, and what we have been doing is planning for the future, just like we've been doing with technology, just like we've been doing with the cars, planning what we know we can only last for a certain amount of time and what's going to need to be replaced. So that asset management plan is in place, yes.
So by the way, there's a concept, actually not a new concept, but concept of technical debt. And I think the town of Carmel, and I'm sure a lot of municipalities suffer this as well. So technical debt, a good example of technical debt, which I think we're suffering a lot from here, for example, when they built the Water District 2 lines, I think in 1998, for example, maybe they didn't put, I don't have the right terminology here, but I know when they first noticing trouble, they had to go in and do coupons, effectively cutting out different areas of pipe. And they also discovered that they couldn't do it in some of the planned locations because the way that infrastructure was laid out. So yeah, technical debt is a concept, and I think that what we're experiencing. It also ties into what you're talking about too, which
Yeah.
is things have a lifetime. But everything that we do in terms of implementing things technically, there's a price to that in terms of operation and
Yeah.
maintenance. Anyway,
And-
that's all.
and
What we're
just
trying to do,
quickly,
too-
Just talking about the water districts and sewer districts, any of the lining that they're doing, like they didn't know what was lined, all of it. They didn't know what was lined, what was copper, what was all of the different materials. By the end of the projects, they're going to know exactly, Greg, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to know exactly what lines are there, are they lined, et cetera. So they're going to, where the hydrants and all of that. So there's going to be a map per se of the water and sewer districts. So in the future boards and the future people will know they're not going to have what we had, like almost like a guessing game. Because way back then, nobody did that. They just dug up the roads, put this stuff in, and they made it work.
Right.
But now it's more cost effective to see what is down below the earth and what we're going to need. So
We should have an accurate
gonna be
depiction of what's
accurate,
there after they're done
Yep.
doing the relining or replacing the line, especially in Water District 2. There were some lines, and there's
Yeah.
going to be some more appropriations of funds, because some lines that are there isn't what was expected. So I guess that's what you're talking about. And
Okay.
true as-built, that's it. True as-built.
What you have there is
Yes.
probably 50
Exactly.
years old,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it may not be fully representative of what lies below
Below.
the surface.
But I think
Yep.
pretty much the projection of what the projects would cost, I think, they've been pretty close, except for the water towers. They were off, I believe, a little bit.
That's because
But
of
that's
COVID.
great
due to
news.
COVID, and there's just a lack of
time.
work, and there's a lack of people bidding on the projects. You're only getting 2 or 3, bidders bidding on a project. It's how can you be competitive if that's all there is?
Yeah,
It's unfortunate,
everyone's
but-
trying to get back up to
Yeah.
speed,
Yeah.
how things used to be.
Trying to find employment, employers, and so on and so forth, but thank you.
Okay, great, thank you.
April, so you asked which department experiences them? It's the engineering department, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause
Yeah, I think
that's
this is
who oversees-
obvious.
That's who oversees the infrastructure,
Sure.
so they see the most change orders.
Okay,
No.
all right, great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone else? Hi, how are you? You just pull that down, there you go.
Yeah, just drag it down here.
Oh, it'll come down a little bit more. Pull it down a little bit more.
Big procedure for 2 seconds. That's okay. I think you can hear me. Susan Kotzer, Town of Kent. Number one, when you sell your vehicles or you put them on an auction site, is it normal for 2 to 3 days that they go on auction and then you find out what the cost is or the fee will be?
You're from the town of Kent, ma'am?
I am.
Okay. I'm just curious, you're asking the town of Carmel
I am.
agenda question?
Because I'm asking how your procedure is to put your vehicles out to auction.
Okay, all right. So in this case, the auction site is Auctions International. So
Okay.
we gave Auctions International all the information today.
Okay.
But they held off until the board discussed it in the work session tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes about 2 or 3 days for them to list it in the auction site itself.
Okay.
So once that's listed, it goes on for about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So there'll be a start date and a close date. And in between, people will bid on these cars. And in the end, they'll give us the final bid results of what the cars were sold for on
Okay,
auction.
in about 3 or 4 weeks, you said?
Yeah, so we'll have an answer in about 3 or 4 weeks.
Not months?
No, not months. No,
Okay.
that's about
Thank
3 or
you.
4. It's pretty quick. And used cars are going for decent money, very good money on the auction
Yeah.
site now. Used
Okay.
cars and trucks.
Yeah,
They're all, even the aftermarket ones.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks for being here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, new business, open forum, April?
April Daly, Mahopac. So the draft for the comp master plan came out today, thank you, as well as I believe an updated consolidated existing conditions report. So I've been looking at that since I noticed the link on Facebook today. So one thing that struck me in both the existing conditions report, but more specifically in the master plan itself, there's no discussion of broadband. Why was that excluded?
It's not that anything was excluded. This is a work in progress, and it's only a draft. Right now, somebody didn't bring it up. Yeah, so if you wanted that included, we can certainly include that if it's part of it. I have to ask Bonnie, even if it would be part of the comprehensive. I'll have to ask her broadband.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question because I do know you have contracts with Comcast and things like that to provide services, and I believe they own the lines, which is part of the challenge. But I think I guess from a comprehensive plan point of view, moving forward, there's the idea of implementing a lot of 5G towers. And actually, let me say first off, I believe that the internet is an essential service, and I think that COVID has really demonstrated that. And I think with the digital revolution, that is just going to keep increasing. That way, as more and more things are impacted and essentially move to being online. Yeah, so so in terms of being an essential service, yeah, myself, I would tend to favor laying down fiber optic cables because they're more resilient. 5G, the cellular stuff is certainly good and it's great for people because of cell towers and things like that. But ultimately, in terms of resilience, fiber optic would be better. It's certainly bigger, broader bandwidth.
Yeah, those are when we do the contracts with the various contractors that we have with those. That's all done in the contracts, and I believe we just finished the Verizon one. Comcast one. Yeah, so that whatever.
It's governed by the Telecommunications Act of 1996. So what you're doing with the comprehensive plan is coming up with a scheme for the growth and development of the build-out of the town over a period of 20 to 30 years projected. Broadband is either going to be something that's governed by the TCA of 1996 or by the existing utility carriers who are going to provide it, telecommunications carriers who are going to provide it one way or another to their users. So there's no prohibition. I know that it's been mentioned in some of the informals meetings that I've attended, which have been a bunch, but it's the town's not jurisdictionally doesn't really have approval or disapproval over it.
Yeah, no, I understand that, and that last point, and thank you for that. And I guess my thinking was, if it's described in the master plan, it becomes I guess, just like a lot of things, what you're stating, this is what we want to do for our community, so for example, and I think to your point, it depends on what the specifications would be. For example, does the current broadband infrastructure have the ability to bring in T3 lines? So just to explain that a little bit. So I had an office down the street and I was doing web hosting out of there, and so I actually contracted with a company to provide a T1 line. So T1 line is not real high speed or anything like that, but it's very, very reliable. Of course, most corporations use T3 because it's fast, and of course it's a big pipe. There's a lot of data that can go through it. So in terms of attracting businesses here, high-tech businesses, those are the types of things they'll probably want to have.
So what I would suggest, and Annie, we could just get April's thing when we have the committee, the cable committees. Yeah, the Verizon contract.
Okay.
If you'd like to be on that, since you're knowledgeable with that, that can certainly help.
Oh, okay, sure. Be my pleasure.
Next year?
Yeah,
It's
I
next
think,
year.
Comcast
I
we
was on
just
it for a number of
finished.
years.
But Verizon will be coming up, so if you'd like to, Annie can put your name down.
All right.
2008, yeah.
maybe 23 it comes up. Takes at least 5.
So we'll start maybe next year? Yeah,
Next year.
you start the year after. Yeah. Okay?
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone else? Okay, I have a couple of announcements. The Town of Carmel Recreation and Parks Department is announcing that they will be doing a drive-in movie night, and it's Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein.
My
Bob, you might
favorite.
wanna go to
My
that.
favorite.
Friday, October 22nd, 7:30 PM at Camarda Park, 226 Seminary Hill Road. It's right up in the hamlet. Carmel, travel back in time with us for a Halloween drive-in movie night at Camarda Park. Capacity is limited. Reservations must be made online. A free event for Town of Carmel residents. Visit www.carmelny.org/recreation or call 845-628-7888 for more information. Registration starts on Tuesday, 10/12. So yesterday, the registration starts at 9 a.m. So if you want to take your family to a drive-in movie at Camarda Park for Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein, I would register as soon as you can because reservations must be made online and capacity is limited. It doesn't say what the capacity is, but I would call it tomorrow if you want to attend that. Susie, if you want to go to that? Okay.
Yeah.
So the Town of Carmel Recreation and Parks Department Harvest Fest this year, it's a fun-filled day of music, activities, craft, food vendors, haunted house, and more. Wear a costume and bring a bag for some Halloween treats. So this year's Harvest Fest is at Sycamore Park, October 31st. It's actually on Halloween, from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Sycamore Park, 790 Long Pond Road, Mahopac, New York. Free event for Town of Carmel residents. For more information, visit www.carmelny.org/recreation. Harvest Fest is a really, really nice event over at Sycamore Park. So for families, if you want to bring your children over there, dressed in their costumes, they'll have a really, really good time. So October 31st, Halloween, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Sycamore Park for this year's Harvest Fest. That's all I have.
I just have one quick thing. Anna reminded me. Annie was kind enough to put on our Carmel website as well as the Town of Carmel Facebook page, the Town of Carmel Existing Conditions Report Master Plan and the Town of Carmel Draft Comprehensive Master Plan. So please, this is still a work in progress. We are going to be having an open meeting after it is discussed with the town board. Look through it. Make some suggestions, give us any feedback that you have, because we are still moving forward with this, and it's not too late to get in any suggestions or comments. It's a lengthy report, but please read through it if you have a chance. Again, it's on our website as well as the town board, the Town of Carmel Facebook page.
Okay, that's it? Bob, you have any
No,
announcements?
nothing.
Mike, you have any? Okay, so our next meeting is next Wednesday, October 20th, 7 p.m. It's a town board voting meeting. So right here next,
And work session.
it's a combined? All right, so combined voting meeting and work session. Thanks, Ann. Next Wednesday, October 20th, 7 p.m. I need a motion to close the meeting? So moved by
Second.
Councilwoman McDonough, seconded by Councilman Shano. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Be well.
Good
See you
night.
next Wednesday, 7 p.m.